to another episode of Fantasy Kingdom on the Mafia Sports Report Network. I am your host, Mikey, and with me, I'm actually down in the basement today. We got Tommy. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, brother?
And then up top, finally out of the basement, Howie. How you doing, buddy?
Yep, I'm doing good. I got my spa. It's here.
Nice.
Now we got to put it in.
Right. So we'll kick off with some league news. We had a game on Thursday night, and boy, it was a barn burner.
It was?
It was a barn burner, wasn't it?
Was it a game?
12-9. Broncos, Colts. The Colts beat the Broncos. Russell Wilson just looked absolutely horrible. Really, both teams looked absolutely horrible. So with that, and I'll start with you, Tommy, and I know we talked a little bit about this. What's wrong with the Broncos?
What's wrong with the Colts? I mean, they're both not playing how their probably fan base thought they would play. I guess we'll start with the Broncos. Russell Wilson. There's a reason why Seattle probably traded him. They probably saw the writing on the wall. Russell Wilson. He hasn't been the same for a little bit now. On Thursday night, he was bad. But he's been not that good all season. So at least through the first 4 weeks. So he missed so many throws, Mikey. He was late on throws. He cost his team the game in the red zone a few times. He had wide open receivers. And then with the Colts, listen, I like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, potential Hall of Famer, maybe Hall of Famer. Really good stats throughout his career. But he's getting older, and that O-line is not as good as it once was or was expected to be. Right. They can't get the running game going, which puts it all on Matt Ryan, and then he cannot move in the pocket as well as he used to. So he's taking major hits. He's getting rid of the ball when he shouldn't because he don't want to get hit, and he's turning the ball over. So just a lot of bad things. And I like Frank Reich, but this is now the third quarterback he's gone to that's a questionable call. He needs to get a younger quarterback in there, and it could cost him his job in time. I mean, that team should be better than what it is, and you're relying on a veteran, older quarterback who cannot move, and he's paying the price. So that's how I feel about those two teams, and that's exactly how I thought that game was going to go. If I were to predict that game in the beginning, I would have said something like 16-13, which I would have been really, really close. So yeah,
I mean, I think you're giving them touchdowns.
And I'm giving them a touchdown. Exactly, which is crazy. I mean, not crazy, but I mean, you would think they were.
The way that game went, it was.
By the way, my fantasy football playing Captain D, he had the Colts kicker, so 16 points on me.
That's rough. So Howie, when you look at these two teams and how they were both considered, AFC powerhouses coming into the year. Both had a chance. Now, they weren't the Super Bowl contenders of like the Chiefs and the Bills, but the Broncos were supposed to be that team fighting for the AFC West. You look at them, how they're set up today. Do you think they can actually turn this thing around and get it going, or do you think they are what they are?
Denver?
Yeah.
I think they're falling behind a little too quick here, and in that division. You gotta stay closer. You're gonna drop off the face of the earth really quick. I mean, another loss or two, they're done in the division. I mean, they
already got 3. Do you think the Chiefs are gonna lose 3 times?
No, not in the division.
Yeah.
I mean, they might lose to they're gonna beat each other up. Chargers, but the Raiders aren't as good as maybe we thought they were gonna be, and Denver's definitely not. So you got those two. You got the Chargers and Kansas City going to come out of that division.
Okay.
Right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long season, and who knows? But you can't lose 3 or 4 games early like this and expect to do anything.
Especially running through that conference, because the AFC is loaded as it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The second piece is some of the star players. We talked about it last week. What's wrong with them? A few of them are starting to pick it back up. Derrick Henry's had back-to-back good weeks from a fantasy perspective. Austin Eckler made a sighting last week.
Finally.
Devontae Adams made a sighting last week. So we're starting to see some of these guys get in the rhythm. So Tommy, I know last week you talked a little bit about you thought it was going to be more early season struggles, and you think it's going to continue trending this way, or do you think it's going to be more of a matchup based? Because really, Tennessee, the only thing they have is Derrick Henry. You think everyone would put 9 in the box and play man to man, but
you would think, but they're going to still rely on him. And I think he had some passing yards as well.
He had 5 catches for 51 yards.
Yeah, so they're going to start. They have to. I'll be honest with you. They have to lean on him a little, maybe even more, which is crazy because that's what they normally do anyways. Yeah. But they're going to have to probably put even more. He's like their Josh Allen over there. Hate to say it, but right now he is. They're going to have to rely on him to get 90%
of their offense.
Yeah, they're going to have to rely on him to get. So I still see him trending up. I don't see him going back. It's game by game or anything. I still think he can average those points. And then same with like Justin Jefferson. Saw him picking things back up. There is some guys that you still need to be concerned about. Kamara, right? Something's wrong there.
Yeah.
And who else? Russell Wilson. If you have Russell Wilson on your fantasy football team, that's probably not good, and that may not turn around. Christian McCaffrey, right? So there is some primetime games because trust me, Russell Wilson was picked. I'm sure he's on some teams, maybe on the bench now, but he was expecting George Kittle. So there's guys that may not turn it around. They just are just on
Keenan Allen,
who cannot be healthy. Yeah, and got to be healthy to get fantasy points. And he's on my team too. So, I mean,
I'm okay with him being out. He's on both of your teams.
Yes. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, that sucks. So my point is, some of these guys I see trending back up, as the season goes, like Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry. But some of the guys I think are just in either bad situations. Injuries are also taking a thing, and just maybe just bad teams, and they just can't get it going, man. Like,
Yeah, it is what it is. So Howie, when we look at this, and we saw Eckler get going a little bit, we saw Henry get going, we saw Devontae Adams going. Jamar Chase still hasn't really broke out yet. So as we look at some of these top tier guys, George Kittle really hasn't broken out yet. Do you see some of these guys starting to break out coming this week, or do you think it's still going to be a few weeks away before we start seeing some of these guys really get going?
I think Chase has a really good matchup this week. It'll be about time when he finally does it. But
right,
he's got a good shot this week. There's just nobody that stands. Actually, this week it's the running game. I think it's going to be good for a lot of teams. I think New England's going to run against Detroit. I don't know. Jacksonville's going to kill Houston on the running game. So I think that's what you want to look out for this week. I don't see any really big wide receivers breaking out this week, but I do see a lot of runners.
The ones that are down.
Yeah.
You got to wonder about Hill and Waddle too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Both dinged up, and having Teddy Bridgewater rather than Tua, that plays into it.
Just totally different. Yeah, totally different.
Granted, they have a prime matchup if they're healthy against the Jets.
Right.
But they do. But the Jets have been weird, man. Honestly, the Jets are. I don't know what to think anymore. I predict them to lose, and they wind up winning. I don't know. They play tough. I give them credit. A lot of the games they've been in.
Yeah.
They play tough. So I don't know if it's that game's going to be close. Even if Tua was playing, I think that game would have been closer than people would think. I still think the Dolphins are a better team, even with Bridgewater in there, but it wouldn't shock me if the Jets win.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think Mostert's going to get a little love in that game too. Over Edmonds, if Waddle and Hill are, they'll probably run a little bit because the Jets do have a decent secondary. I mean, that's the only thing keeping them going, really.
But the Dolphins don't have much of a run game. That's the part of the problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
More pass protection than it is run.
Right, but if their receivers aren't playing,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna have to go somewhere. And Edmonds just hasn't been producing that much. I think, as an outlier, Mostert's got a chance of putting up some points this week.
Okay. All right, so let's get into the key matchup games this week. We'll start with the Chargers at Browns. We have Herbert, Eckler, Williams in the Chargers defense versus Chubb, Hunt, Cooper, and the Browns defense. So if you have to take one of them, Howie, which way you leaning? You leaning more Chargers? You leaning more Browns?
Well, I'm stacking the Chargers. I got Herbert, Williams, and Eckler all starting in our money league.
Okay.
So that's where I'm going. I think I've also got Hunt starting in our CBS league. I mean, Chubb's the man there, but I think Hunt's got a good, going to get
He's
some
a pass
more
catcher.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I mean, he's not going to help me in the CBS league catching passes.
Yeah.
But with Taylor down, I couldn't start him this week. I really didn't have a choice. I got Edmonds and Aaron Jones, so Jones is starting.
Yeah.
And then I put Hunt in there.
Hunt over Edmonds because you don't think Edmonds is going to have much of a game. So
No.
Okay. So Tommy, if you had to pick one of these two teams, what set are you going with? You going with the Chargers? Or you going with the Browns?
I think the Chargers. Jeez, I would.
It really comes down to what Jacoby Brissett can do.
Yeah, because he, that's why I'm kind of like, because he had a good game last week. He actually had a good game. And then they have they have Hunt over there, Chubb, and their defense isn't bad. They make some bonehead decisions here and there. Now I know Garrett's not playing, correct? He's out a couple weeks for the Browns. Yeah, yeah.
Myles Garrett. Yeah, Myles Garrett. Okay.
Yeah. So that could be a disadvantage for the Browns on defense.
Disadvantage. You lose one.
You know what I mean? So, but the Chargers also are missing Keenan Allen. They're also missing.
They're also missing their left tackle, Rashawn Slater.
Right. So, and they're in Cleveland. So they're on the road. It's not like the Chargers have been lighting it up. They're both 2-2 teams. I'm going to go Cleveland on this one.
You're
I think Brissett had. Yeah, I'm going to take. I think Brissett. Yeah, I think Brissett gets a running touchdown again. I think his yards are decent, fair enough. I like the running backs. They're going to get their points in the red zone, especially. And I think their defense is going to put up some points against the Chargers. Herbert's still not 100% yet back, like as far as health-wise. And he makes some mistakes here and there, too. He's still kind of, he'll make a throw that he's giving his receiver a chance. And sometimes that's not the greatest decision, but he turns the ball over. So I'm going to go Cleveland on this one just by slight, a little.
And for me, it's going to really depend on format. If you're in a PPR league, I'm leaning more Chargers with that set of players. If you're in a standard format without the PPR, I'm going with Chubb and team because they're more running than they are receiving.
Right.
So depending on the format is depending on who I would lean in that game. Game 2, we have Cowboys at Rams. So Tommy, I'll start with you. Zeke, Lamb, Schultz, and their defense, or Stafford, Kupp, Higbee, and the Rams defense. Who would you go with?
On defense, you're saying?
No, just in general.
Just overall.
So I'm asking.
Well, the Cowboys also. Yeah. So is Dak back in this game?
No, still Cooper Rush.
So Cooper's been holding it down. I don't think he's been electric, right?
No, he's been solid.
He's been solid, but he hasn't been like electric, So they haven't been putting up crazy points. So, with that being said, let me see here. So you got
and the Rams really. I mean, outside
the Rams have been playing. Yeah, and Stafford turns the ball over a lot too. I'm still going to go with the Rams. I think the Rams have a little bit more high-powered offense with Kupp, with Stafford. I'm going to go the Rams on this one. I think they're going to get you more points than the Cowboys.
Okay. So, Howie, if you have to choose between
bad
the two
matchups,
teams, who are you going with? They're not great matchups this week at all.
Okay, well, the Rams, if they didn't have Kupp, they wouldn't have anything right now.
Yeah.
So they got a pretty good defense. I'm going to pick the Cowboys in this game. I don't trust the Rams right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I think they're going to run over them.
I like the tell Grandma we said hello.
Mom, you can walk behind me. You don't have to. She's crawling behind me. See her?
Yep, all good. So for me, I would probably go with I love the Cup and Higbee. Higbee's actually like number 5 in fantasy points for tight ends right now. He's like the number 2 option there in LA. However, that Cowboy defense is crazy.
There's a load in the laundry, and the sleeping bag needs to be washed. Other than that, everything's done.
So just so you know,
Sorry.
Howie, when you take off your headphones, we can still hear you.
Yeah, I just realized that. I wanted to be able to hear her.
Yeah. So for me, I would probably lean more towards. I think the most dominant outside of Cup is that Cowboys defense. And I have a feeling they're going to get to Stafford a ton. So I would also lean Cowboys as well because that defense, that Micah Parsons is an animal. Animal.
Yeah, he is.
You know.
So, and the Rams' offensive line has been not good.
No, they're terrible.
Yeah, so I could definitely see him getting home a few times. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, so going into matchup 3, we got the Bengals at the Ravens. We have Burrow, Mixon, Chase, and Higgins.
Interesting game.
Versus Jackson, Dobbins, and Andrews. No Rashad Bateman. Their number 1 is out with the ankle. He got hurt last week. So that leaves Devin Duvernay as their number 1 wide receiver.
That's the best game of the week, bro.
I actually like the next one a little bit better than this game. But
I'm looking at.
Yeah.
They have something they have to. This is if Baltimore loses again at home,
it's gonna. Yeah, this is a key matchup, and it's a
right.
division matchup. Like from a football standpoint,
you got a lot going on.
Yeah, this is probably the best matchup. But from a fantasy perspective, I like the next one. But so who would you go with, Tommy? If you had to pick a set of players.
I'm going to go Cincy. Cincy. Yeah, because, listen, Burrow's going to get his. Baltimore's, even though, Burrow I think he is.
Looked like the Burrow.
He hasn't, but he's also going against a bad defense in Baltimore, pass defense. Even though we didn't look too hot last week.
There was a lot of factors to that.
But there was a lot going on. I'm just saying, normally, Baltimore's defense right now is not what they were. Since he's a heavy passing team, Burrow will get his. Trust me. Now, is he going to be unbelievable 500 passing yards? Probably not. But he's going to get a couple touchdowns. I can see Chase getting a touchdown or 2 as well in there. So maybe 3 touchdowns, a touchdown for Chase or 2. Joe Mixon is always a problem, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to get his in the running game and passing game. And I think their defense is pretty good in Cincinnati. I don't mind their defense. Baltimore, yes, they have weapons. Lamar Jackson, he's going to get his. He always does. But other than that, it's their tight end. I mean, on offense, they're limited. We saw that against us. They didn't have a lot of options to go to on offense. And their defense is just, you might as well just put a scratch there. They're not going to give you much on points wise. So I'm going to go Cincy as far as fantasy points go. And that's going to be a really good game. It's going to be an interesting game if you're going to watch it.
If you get the chance to watch that game, that's a game you actually want to watch.
Howie,
who you lean in?
I like Cincinnati in this game. I think Boyd's going to get some love too.
Yeah, Boyd. I forgot about Boyd.
And on a personal note, I hope Dobbins just shits the bed.
Dobbins looked good last week. He did. In his first game, first start back, he actually looked good against Buffalo.
And if you're a fan of his, you're wanting him to do good and everything. I'm just, just a little
Tommy,
trade.
Yeah. So in our money league, one of the guys offered me Waddle and a 6th round pick for Dobbins and a 10th round pick, and I took it. And it's in a dynasty league.
And I want to hang the guy.
And the whole league wants to hang him. We're like, how do you give the guy who's won it back-to-back years and 3 of the last 4 another young star?
Yeah. How do you do that?
I think that's I don't think that's a crazy bad trade. I think that's all right.
I think it's terrible.
I don't know. I don't think it's that bad. You won the trade, but I don't think it's
it's great for Mike. It's great.
Yeah, but I don't think it's outrageous though. It's not
Listen,
like a.
You want to know what the real issue is? Is I'm the one that made the trade. So let's call it what it is. If he made that trade with somebody else, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But the fact that I won 3 of the last 4 years, and I have a stacked set of dynasty keepers, they're like, why would you give him a young guy? His core is starting to get up there in age. Why replenish him? And I know that's where it really comes from. So for me in this game, I'll tell you, I am not really like I love Mixon, Chase, and the team, but that offensive line hasn't been good this year. Joe Burrow's still getting beat up a ton. He also doesn't move very well. Like last week, Josh Allen got out of a lot of really bad situations that D line that the Ravens put on him. Burrow doesn't move like that. So, although I lean more towards, they have the chance for the higher upside, the higher ceiling. You know what Jackson and Andrews are going to do for you. So it's a matter of I will lean towards the Bengals too, but I think it could be a lot closer than normal because that offensive line, if the Ravens can put pressure on Burrow, they could be in trouble.
Oh,
yeah.
So the final key matchup of the week, we have the Raiders at the Chiefs. From a fantasy perspective, I think this is one of the bigger games of the week. We have Carr, Jacobs, Adams, and Waller. Although Renfro is still out with a concussion, versus Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire, Smith-Schuster, and Kelsey. And really, the problem I have with the Chiefs is you never know. Outside of Kelsey and Mahomes, you don't know who that third guy is going to be. It's somebody new every week.
Right.
Yeah.
Last week they had some random tight end take quarterback sneaks for cheap touchdowns.
Yeah, they're tough picking fantasy players off that team. I mean, Pacheco could have a good game this week.
Yeah.
You just that like you said, that's the tough thing. How do you pick out of 6 different guys besides Mahomes?
Sky Moore.
Who do you pick? Who's going to be the sweetheart this week? Because
they also have a third running back. Not only so they have CEH, they have Pacheco, and then they also have what is his name? The little guy that came from I can't think of his name now. McKinnon.
Okay.
Little scat back. They're McKinnon, who tore it up last year for them, and so you never know which one of them is going to be the one that takes off. So we'll start with Tommy. Who are you looking at from a Chiefs Raiders standpoint? What's that
from a fantasy
perspective?
I would say the Raiders because they have more guys that are going to probably get points, tight end, receiver, the running back even, and Jacobs.
Who finally showed up last week.
Right. Carr's probably going to get – but Chiefs defense isn't bad. You're playing in KC. The Raiders haven't been lighting it up either. Adams just got going with them, right? I think he just had his first good game with them, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say the Raiders, but, man, I'm hesitant on it. Just because they're in KC, they haven't really been playing. Raiders are not a very good team so far. And like you said earlier, only because KC, you don't know where the ball is going. Kelsey will get his regardless. But other than that, it's a crapshoot who's going to do what from week to week with KC.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean that. So I'll go with the Raiders. But game, I think the Chiefs are going to kill them, bro. I think the Chiefs are going to kill them.
That's what I think.
You're feeling the same way, Howie?
Yeah. If Adams doesn't light it up, they're gonna get killed.
Especially without Renfro, and Renfro's is a big miss in that offense because he's that little third down security blanket for Carr. So we'll see how much more we get out of Adams going forward.
And I'm not that confident on Waller having a great week this week either.
Really?
I like the guy. I'm just not really confident on him having a good week.
Who do you think's gonna blanket him over there? Like I look at from the Chiefs standpoint, where they really succeed is from their front. Chris Jones and team, not really from their secondary.
Well, who else they got to throw to besides Adam and Waller? So when you only got to cover 2 guys, and Jacobs is hit and miss, I think I just don't see them getting a lot of points.
Okay.
I like them as players, but like Tommy says, I think Chiefs are going to kill them. It's not going to be the worst whoop ass this week. We all know where that's coming from, but
you might get some cheapy points at the end, though.
yeah, you might get some garbage time. Might get a little garbage time.
That's what you hope for in those, And
like the Lions.
That's what I live on.
That's what the Lions have been doing.
Right?
Lions have been doing the same thing.
And anybody who has those Lions love it because they get huge weeks out of them, even though they lose every week.
Just don't pick the defense.
The problem you could have here also is goes back to like what the Buffalo Bills did in week 2. Guys could be, Mahomes may come out in the fourth quarter, may not even play. Like I was 2 points away from coming all the way back to beat you in week 2, and they pulled Josh in the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah, I know.
Bitches.
Yeah, it sucks.
Got me.
That was a lot of points. That was 194 to 192, and that's a lot in our league.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So we'll move on to our sit and start section here. So who would you sit? Who would you start? We'll start with Connor versus Philly or Dobbins versus Cincinnati. We'll start with Howie.
God, I don't like Dobbins, but I think he's going to do better than Connor. I think he's going to have a better week. I think that's going to be a tough game. The experts are saying there's going to be a lot of points in that Eagles game, but I don't see it. Ertz is going to get his. I don't know. I think I'll stop Connor.
You think he'll stop Connor? Okay.
So I'll go with Dobbins, even though I'd rather he didn't do well.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm going to go Dobbins as well.
Dobbins, okay.
Yep.
I'll make a clean sweep. I like Dobbins. I think he's better than a lot of people think. However, I hope he does well. Mainly, I want him to do well because I want the rest of my league to shut up. So.
I want it. Yeah.
We have Jacobs at Kansas City versus Miles Sanders at Arizona. Tommy, we'll start with you.
I'm gonna go. This is tough. That's kind of even, Steven. I'll go Sanders.
All right.
I think. Like I said, I think the problem is with Jacobs is I think KC will jump ahead and they'll have to be passing more, and it'll limit Josh Jacobs in the running game. So I'll go Sanders because of that. I just don't think. And not only that, if Philly gets up a big lead, they're going to be running, just keeping Arizona off the field as much as they can. Because Arizona has been a weird team in the fourth quarters with comebacks.
Right. Yeah.
So I could definitely see them trying to just keep them off the field for that kind of weird, heroic last-minute comeback. And they'll probably just run the ball with Sanders a lot, especially late in the game. So I'll go Sanders on that. I just don't think Jacobs will be used a lot because they'll get down quickly by KC, and then that'll eliminate him. So that's where I'm going.
Howie?
Oh, I think I'll be contrary. I'll go with Jacobs. I think, like I said, they only got Adams, Waller, and him. I think I'm going to take him. I'm going to take him over Sanders. I think if any running is going to be done, it's going to be done by lost his name. Quarterback for the Eagles. Hurts.
Oh, Hurts.
I think Hurts is going to do the damage in that game.
Okay. All right. I will lean. Oh man, that is a tough one. I'm gonna lean more Sanders. I don't think I trust the Cardinals defense at all. So, the next one, Singletary versus Pittsburgh, Breece Hall versus Miami, or Rashad Penny at New Orleans. Howie, we'll start with you.
God, you're making me do it, aren't you? I think Singletary is going to have a really good game because I think Buffalo's going to jump out in front, and then they're just going to run and control the game the rest of the way. So Singletary's got your real good chance of having a great game this week. It's the first time I'm going with Buffalo's running game, only because they'll be so far ahead early.
Okay, Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going to go Singletary. No surprise there. But I think Buffalo is really the way they talked about him last week in the press conference, the way Sean McDermott talked about him as well this week, I think they're going to try to make him more involved in the offense and especially in the running game. They understand the Buffalo Bills have to start running the ball more. Like, I know they know this, and this is a perfect game if you're going to start doing it to do it. And I think they will, and I think Singletary gets more carries than he has for the first part of the season. Mm-hmm. So I could definitely see Singletary having a pretty good game. So I'm going to go Singletary in that just because of that and the fact that they need to start running the ball. And this is, like I said, a perfect game for them to do that. And yeah, that's it. That's See, so I'll go Singletary.
I'll go Singletary as well, but for a different reason. I don't think, I think people are not giving the credit to that Pittsburgh defensive line as much as they should. Cam Hayward's still sitting inside there. Yes, they lost TJ Watt, but the problem that the Steelers have is their secondary isn't very good and it's all banged up. So I think Singletary's gonna have a better game too, but I think it's gonna be from a pass catching perspective.
Yeah, I should have said that too. You're right.
From a pass catching perspective rather than a run perspective, because
especially how the last 2 weeks went, Mikey.
With
him. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
So I think he'll have the better game as well.
I'll give you that.
But it's not gonna be from a run standpoint. So all right, so we'll move on to the next one. McLaurin versus Tennessee or Devonta Smith at Arizona. Tommy.
Say the matchups again.
Terry McLaurin versus Tennessee, so at home against Tennessee, or Devonta Smith at Arizona.
I'll go McLaurin on that one. I like the matchup better.
Okay. Howie?
I had Devonta down already, so I'm going to go with him.
You go with Devonta? I like Devonta for the fact he's in the dome, and AJ Brown is going to get most of the attention, and that dude is just lightning fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Terry McLaurin, but he's the number one, and he gets all the attention. So you've been seeing Dotson and Samuels and all those guys picking up more points because of it.
And Dotson's down, and Samuel's getting over an illness.
Okay.
So they're not going to have to worry about them, so they're going to be all over McLaurin.
Okay. Yeah, so, I'll go Devonta Smith. Then the next one, we have Alan Lazard versus the Giants. Oh, crap. I don't know. Oh, Gabe Davis against Pittsburgh or Garrett Wilson against Miami?
God.
Howie.
I think Dobbs is going to have a better game than Lazard, so I'm going to take Lazard out of there. Man. Wilson's got to go up against Miami. So who was the third one?
Gabe Davis against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and he's just coming back. All three of them is a crappy choice.
However, sometimes these are the guys that they have to choose between.
Right. You know what? Go with Davis. Make yourself happy, and if he doesn't do well, then you can say, "Oh, damn Bills."
Tommy.
David. The problem with Davis this game is, like I said, with all the Bills, they could get pulled out of the game early. Yeah. This could be a quick one. It could be like boom, boom, boom. 3 different guys get passes: McKenzie, Davis, Diggs, and then you're running with Singletary the rest of the game. So they might get their touchdown, but they might not get a whole lot of passes and yards because I don't think they're going to need to. It's going to be bug meat windshield this week for Pittsburgh.
I hope you're right. I really do hope you're right as a Bills fan. Tommy, who are you going with?
So I don't know where I heard it from. There was a report that Gabe Davis supposedly is almost back to 100%. Like he's looking solid.
He's looking better, yeah.
Yeah,
so came out from the shout.
Yeah, so I said close. So I'll see it, I want to see it Sunday. So I'm going to go Gabe Davis just because of that report, even though he's just not been himself. So, I'll go Gabe Davis just because of that, because when Gabe Davis is healthy, You saw what he could do. You saw what he could do week 1. You saw what he could do last year in the playoffs. He's a dynamic receiver. He's getting better, but he has to get healthy. And if he's healthy, then he's going to put some points up. Even if Buffalo, which I don't think that's how the game's going to go. I don't know if Buffalo's going to trounce them early. I think it's going to wind up being like just points added up throughout the game. Like it'll be kind of close at halftime. Maybe Bills up by 10 or something. And then you'll start seeing a pick up third quarter, fourth quarter. So I still think those guys will be used. Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs. I don't see anyone getting pulled. That I just don't. So, I'll go Gabe Davis because of that.
And I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson. Miami's secondary's been beat up. Howard's been looking, been in and out of the lineup. Byron Jones isn't back yet. I also think Miami's going to get up on them early, and the Jets are going to have to pass. So I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson, as he seems to be the number one receiver there, and we'll see how that works out. All right, so our next one, we have Robert Woods at Washington, DJ Moore versus San Francisco, or Brandon Ayuk at Carolina. Tommy, we'll start with you. None of them are great options, but some people have these type of.
You would normally go with DJ Moore, right? Like DJ Moore would have been that would have been a no-brainer last season, I think.
Last few seasons.
But man, last season. But they're not honest. Like him and Mayfield, like that's already a problem. Like you could
horrible.
Yeah, and the receivers are already kind of like you could tell they're not a fan. Like there's a problem already with that whole locker room with the quarterback situation. I guarantee if he got benched, they want to care less, right? Like they're not fighting for Mayfield. So I'm gonna go Robert Woods. Even though he's older in his career, he's picked up a little bit. You're starting to see them go to him a little bit more. He's still sure-handed. So I'm gonna go Robert Woods just because of that. And they're limited over there with wide receivers. So so I'm gonna go just because of that as well. I'll go with Robert Woods. I'll go Robert Woods.
Okay. Howie?
Woods.
You want Woods too?
No doubt. I had him written down already this week.
And I'll make it a clean sweep. I'm gonna go with Bobby Trees as well. I love me some Bobby Trees, anyways. He's also every week he's coming back. He's 1 week better outside of that knee injury, and he was fantasy relevant before he went down. So in LA. So ultimately, I think he's going to get back to it, and he's going to be their number one receiver. What's going on, Tommy? You look like something happened.
Bad in Michigan game, Michigan, Indiana. The lineman got rolled up on like sideways though, and he already had like a brace on, or whatever. So his leg, but it went sideways. It looks bad, bro.
Yeah,
it was bad. They're on commercial break.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Freiermuth at Buffalo or Everett at Cleveland. We'll start with Howie.
I like Everett this week because with Keenan out and Palmer down, you got Eckler and Williams. So I think Everett's gonna have a decent game. If I would have to pick between the two, Freiermuth's got to go against Buffalo. God, I tell you what, the next 2 weeks I am not even saying the B word. I've been all over Buffalo this week. Can't believe it. I mean, and I'm not done.
We're converting.
I got another big one coming up. 2 big ones coming up.
We're converting him, Tommy. Slowly but surely.
Yeah, I see that. What's the names again? Who you got? Freiermuth. I know that one.
Versus Everett with the Chargers.
I'm gonna go Everett. They're limited right now with the injuries. They're gonna be leaning towards him a little bit more than they normally would. So I'll go Everett on that one.
And I'm gonna go Freiermuth. And the reason why I'm gonna go Freiermuth, especially if it falls the way how he thinks it is, bug meets windshield. It's gonna be a lot of garbage time crap that they could get.
Could be.
Yeah.
So I'll go Freiermuth. And I like the kid. The kid is a stud. He's so solid. Then my last one, Tyler Conklin versus Miami, or Robert Tonyan versus the Giants. Tommy, we'll start with you.
Say the matchup again. Who is it? Conklin and who?
Conklin versus Miami. Tanyan versus the Giants.
I'll go Conklin on that one. I think it'll be. I think he's going to have to go to his tight end a little bit more in that game versus Miami. I think the receivers are going to be blanketed, so I'll go Conklin.
Howie.
Zach Wilson, I meant to say. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll go to.
I knew what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Giants are a little bit better this year than I thought they would be. My dad's a Giant fan and I'm a Skin fan, so boom, boom, you know.
Yeah.
And then of course your old man's the Dallas fan, so I don't like. They're over in London. I'm gonna go Conklin. If I had to pick between the two.
Okay, and I'll go against both of you guys again, and I'll go with Tanya. And the reason for it is Conklin's battling for snaps with TJ Usamama. I can't even say his last name.
Njoku?
No, it's he was the former Bengals tight end last year. It starts with a U. It's like Uzama.
Uzama.
Yeah, Uzama.
CJ Uzama. I like him, but neither one of them gets used as they're kind of a committee.
And that's why I think because he battle snaps with him, that's why I'll go with Tanyan because he is one of the weapons with the Packers. I think he has a better game than Conklin.
Didn't you just drop him?
I did because I got a chance to get Hawkinson.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't believe he was laying there.
I can't believe he was sitting out there either, and I'll happily take Hawkinson. Okay.
Almost like when I picked up Williams, I couldn't believe he was sitting there.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll look at the wrap up. So Howie's deep league diggers for week 5. Who you got, Howie?
Okay. I like Corey Davis off the Jets. He's gotten 74 yards or better in the last 3 out of 4 games. So if you need somebody, he might be the guy. Detroit, it depends on whether St. Brown plays or not. But Josh Reynolds has been a real good mainstay for them.
Yeah, he was on there last week. He was one of
and then this one's a little less relevant now that I know that Davis is coming back. But you got your guys got Khalil Shakir, or wide receiver.
Khalil.
Khalil
Shakir.
Yeah. Now Davis is back and Diggs is rolling. He might not be as relevant, but he might.
But it really is going to depend on McKenzie, if McKenzie's back or not, because Davis can still be there, and we're looking for that wide receiver 3. So depending on how McKenzie rebounds with the concussion, it'll play a role because we already lost Crowder for the year with a broken ankle, so he's gone now. They released Tavon Austin, so it's really going to come down to McKenzie and Shakir on that wide receiver 3. So
I like McKenzie. I mean, if I was a Buffalo fan, that's the jersey I would get.
He's fun, the face of the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one of my favorite football player from way back was Simpson.
Yeah,
I'm an OJ fan. The bad part about me in the 70s, my heroes in sports, Pete Rose, O.J. Simpson, and Bruce Jenner.
Oh, wow.
They're the trifecta for you, huh?
Right.
Now, 50 years ago, that was a good group.
Yep.
Nowadays, it's kind of like,
Yeah. Tommy, who you going with?
I actually picked up Corey. I picked up Corey Davis actually in my fantasy. I think he's been playing well. So yeah, I mean I like Corey Davis for that. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go Davis. I'm gonna go Davis on that one.
That's who you go with? Okay. I love the Shakir pickup. He had 2 big plays last week, and I think he's only going to get better and better as the season goes. He's my deep digger this week. If I had to go pick somebody up, it would be him. Howie's Hot Pepper Challenge. Last week, he had Cooper Rush, 255 and 2 touchdowns. He landed the 2 touchdowns, but he came up 30 yards short on the 255. So Howie will eat his pepper. By the way, that is like number 3 in a row that he's lost. So it's starting to become a jinx. So don't you dare pick one of the Bills as your next. So who you got?
350 yards from scrimmage, 3 touchdowns, and I go bigger, but I think he's going to get pulled. I'm going with Josh.
Oh, you dirty.
Yep. So hopefully, if things go the way I've been going lately, he'll go 300, 2 and a fumble. The way I've been picking lately.
No.
But I'm going with 350 scrimmage, 3 touchdowns, and like I said, I'd go more, but I think he's going to get pulled.
That's very possible. Very possible. All right. So now we'll get into our non-QB X factors. Last week, Tommy got the win. Derrick Henry did him well. Howie came in second with Stephon Diggs getting 10, and then Najee just crapped the bed for me and got me 7. It was super annoying. So, Tommy, we'll start with you this week. Who are you going with?
Say it again. So my non-X factor. Go with Howie first so I can think about that.
Howie, who are you going with?
Oh, James Robinson.
James Robinson. Okay.
I think he's going to run wild over Houston.
All right.
I got to look at the matchups. Man, I got to look up the matchups.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Skip me again.
He's like, skip me again. Let me pick last.
Because it's not a very good week.
Oh, it's terrible week.
It's not. It's terrible. I think I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson versus the Bears.
The Bears.
That's a good one. Man, I'm having a tough time here.
I mean, I thought about going Cooper Kupp because he's like a give me, but I'm like I should probably go with someone who has a chance at least not having a big week.
I am having a tough time picking one. Okay. Mikey. Okay. This is the toughest time I had on this.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna just go really crazy here. Devin Singletary.
Oh,
I'm gonna go so outside the box. Why not?
He could have a huge week.
Yeah, so why not? I'll go there instead of going with what I normally do, which is a primetime player. Go ahead.
All right. I like it. Okay, so this week, we got Jefferson, Singletary, and Robinson. Howie is actually in the lead currently. I'm in second. You're in first, or you're in third, Tommy. So we'll see how we go after week 5. So, any final comments from you fellas?
That's it. Just a bad week of football.
Yeah.
Other than that, go Bills.
Yeah. All right, for Howie, Tommy, and myself, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on Fantasy Kingdom. Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Yeah, right.